What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we are finally checking out my favorite angle, the Fireball 100. Let's do it. Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is I take all sorts of awesome high gain related guitar equipment, I record it with a simple SM57 setup, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands right now, and I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into East End or thrash riffs, dropsy hardcore riffs, and dudes that spend all day thinking about what seasoning they're gonna put on their burgers after this, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing on the way out so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks! Alright guys, so over the last year or so, I have made it no secret that the Engl Fireball 100 is not only my favorite Engl amplifier, but it is firmly planted within my favorite top 10 amps, period. This thing just has an absolutely gnarly mid-range that, I don't know man, it's just got such an aggressive, cool snarl to it. It's got tons of gain. The low end is extremely percussive, which you guys know if you've been around the channel for a little bit. That's just what I am into. I love a nice tight percussive low end because I am a rhythm player, and when I write music with my bands, I am very heavily focused on the rhythm section, all hitting at the same time. And the palm mutes of the Engl Fireball 100 combined with a nice punchy kick drum is just gonna make anybody bob their heads. I guarantee it. All right guys, so we're gonna jump into it today. The Engl Fireball 100 is a pretty stripped down amplifier. It's got two channels, a clean and a lead gain channel. We've got a mid boost, we've got a channel switch, we've got a master AB, and we have a presence control for the power section. On the back, we've got Engl's signature noise gate that comes after the preamp, so it mutes all of that preamp hiss that you'll find in a lot of modern high gain amplifiers. So this thing stays dead silent when you're not playing. It also has an effects loop with a controllable balance, and that's pretty much it. And that's, for me, all I need. I am a grip it and rip it type dude. I like dialing in one high gain rhythm tone and just going. So if you're like me and you don't need all the bells and whistles of something like, say, the Powerball or the Savage Mark II, the Fireball might be right up your alley. And there's something about this amp that just sounds the most raw, the most open, the most organic about the Engl lineup. Now, I really like the Engl tone, but I find that a lot of their amps are a little bit more compressed than I typically go for, a little bit more saturated than I typically go for, and this amp just kind of takes that signature Engl thing and opens it up a little bit more, so it still sounds very much like any other amp in the Engl range, but it's just got a little bit more openness, a little bit more raw aggression, and that's why I love it. So we're gonna dive into some tones. For that intro clip, I was using my Balaguer Typhon with the Seymour Duncan distortion in the bridge. We're gonna check out some low output pickups. We're gonna check out some active pickups and a 7-string guitar in this amplifier. As always, we are going into my Mesa 99 traditional 4x12 cab with the stock vintage 30s, SM57 on that vintage 30. I am using the Mesa cab with this Engl amplifier because I use this Mesa cab for all of my straight plain amplifier demos. That way when you're watching different amp demos, the only difference that you're really hearing is the amplifier and nothing else. So that's why I'm not using an Engl cab. Just wanted to clear that up before somebody gets into the comments and starts pooping their pants. I was also boosting the amp with the Electric Eye Audio Mud Killer, and one of the things that I love so much about the Engl Fireball 100 is that it has way more low end than you're gonna need. I've typically found that Engl amps are a little bit lean on the low end, and sometimes when you boost them, it just doesn't have enough balls to cut it. The Fireball 100 definitely does not suffer from that problem. This thing has an insane amount of low end push, and I love it for that. So we're gonna be able to try all sorts of different boosts on this thing and keep our low end intact. We've got the bottom switch out. I am turning all of the EQ controls back to noon, leaving the presence at noon. We're gonna turn off the mid boost, and I'm gonna turn that lead gain down to 9 o'clock. And we're gonna try to get some lower gain tones out of this thing, but we're not gonna spend too much time doing that. We're belligerent amateurs, for God's sakes. All right, guys, I have my Heritage H150 Artisan aged here with the Seymour Duncan Antiquity pickups. Here's what we got. All right, one of the first things about this amplifier that I want to mention is the treble really needs to be cranked up in order to get that top end presence out of it. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to crank that treble up a good amount. So we have kind of that clanky, martially Kerrang thing going on, but we do still have a good amount of compression. We've still got a bunch of gain. Let's pull that lead gain back even further. All right, so that doesn't sound bad. Still a little compressed. Let's hit that mid boost and see if it gives us more of that classic rock vibe. Honestly, that sounds pretty good. Let's get a tad more bass, a tad more gain. I'm gonna roll the volume down and then roll it up and see how it reacts to playing a lower gain riff with the volume control. Honestly, not bad for that type of tone. If I were going for that tone and I was going to choose an Angle amplifier, I would choose the Angle Artist over this, but it's not bad. If you really were to push this through like some greenback speakers or something, this guitar is pairing really nicely for this tone right now. I think it would do okay. But we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna turn that lead gain up. Already, we've got a ton of low end. Turning that gain up really does affect the low end percussiveness. And we're gonna play, I guess, a mid gain riff. We're kind of already in the high gain territory. So again, it does it pretty well, actually, if you pair it with the right pickups, but I mean, that's not really what I would choose this amp for, and I would imagine that most people are not gonna choose this amp for that either. So let's get into belligerent mode. Let's go ahead, let's kick that lead gain up to noon. Even with a Seymour Duncan Antiquity pickup, a low output PAF style pickup in the bridge, this thing's already getting nasty. No boost required. All right, so I'm digging that. I actually feel like we can pull that low end back a little bit. Without a boost in front, that low end gets big in a hurry. Let's go ahead and boost the gain up a little bit more to get some saturation. So it definitely does the mid gain thing without a boost. Let's get that gain dimed just to see how much gain we have on tap with this amplifier. Definitely plenty of saturation, but it's also adding some compression and a little bit of mud, much like you would expect from diming the gain on pretty much any amplifier. So let's pull it back a little bit. Let's kick in something like the Way Huge Green Rhino. And we have a seriously killer sounding high gain tone. Let's click in that bottom, get a little bit more bass. And we have a little bit of fuzziness on the top end. That's where this treble control really comes into play on this amplifier, because there is a small window where you turn the treble up and it just really opens up the amp. This is an amp where you definitely have to dial with your ears and not your eyes, because anybody thinking that the treble should be that high on most amps, they're gonna panic. But trust me, that's where it sounds good on this one. All right, sounds incredible. I'm actually gonna turn that bottom switch off though. Giving me a little bit too much sub-low for a thrashy tone, but here we go. Let's play something thrashy. I seriously think that sounds awesome, but it's time to grab a guitar with a hotter pickup. Let's do that. All right, guys, I've touched nothing. Here's what we have with the Duncan Distortion in the Balaguer Typhon. Oh, that's such a great sounding pickup. We can pull that lead gain back a little bit. We can bump that bass up a little bit. Nice and percussive, lots of detail, definitely a lot of mids. All right, sounds incredible to me. Let's try a different overdrive on it real quick though. Let's try just a simple Boss SD1, because a lot more people are gonna have those on hand. Oh, that is such a good tone, man. I love this amp so much, so much, so much. This is my favorite angle. Did I tell you that yet? This is my favorite. All right, we're gonna turn that Boss SD1 off. Let's try one more overdrive. Let's try something a little bit different. Let's try the Warm Audio ODD box. So if you want an overdrive that's not gonna boost the mids, this is gonna do it for you. All right, so that sounds pretty cool too. Let's kick that off. We're gonna go ahead and do a drop C style riff. One thing I do wanna show you guys, I've had the mid boost on the whole time. Here's what happens when we turn that mid boost off. It just removes so much of the mid presence. If you wanted to get like say a death metal style tone out of this amplifier, you can definitely do that. And the nice thing is this amp actually has a presence control on the power amp. So when you pull the mids back, it doesn't take all of your top end aggression with it like it does on some of the other angles. All right, definitely does a death metal tone. And keep in mind, guys, there was no boost on in front of what I just played, and we still had lots of saturation, lots of tightness, punchiness. Let's go ahead, drop down into drop C and play a hardcore riff. And for this clip, we are going straight into the amplifier, no overdrive. Sounds awesome for that. Again, no overdrive. The noise gate on the back of this thing works incredibly well, but let's kick in an overdrive and let's see how we can do that same riff and kind of brighten it up a little bit, but still retain the beef on the low end. All right, for me, it's a clear winner, the overdrive. I just love the tightness that it adds to the low end and the upper mid grind that it adds. But let's try this thing with an active pickup now. All right, guys, I have my LTD Phoenix Black Metal here with the Fluff Fishman Fluent signature pickup in it. We are in the passive setting on the Fishman. We're gonna use that green rhino again, and we're just gonna see how it sounds. That sounds nasty. Let's turn the overdrive off. Let's go into the active voicing on the Fishman. Anytime I play this guitar in the active voicing into an angle amplifier, it just like works so well. This pickup is voiced for this stuff. All right, absolutely love that. Would have no problem plugging straight in for that tone. Definitely does the hardcore thing. Last but not least, 7-string. All right, guys, I've got my Schecter PT Hellraiser Hybrid here with the EMG 57 in the bridge. We're still going directly into the amplifier because, again, this thing sounds great without a boost with active pickups. Here we go. Alright guys, if I am ever in a band where I have to play a 7-string, no lie, I think that the Angle Fireball is what I would go for. Anytime I plug a 7-string into this amp and most of the other Angle amps, it's like they were just a match made for each other. They sound so good. And that is gonna do it for me today, guys. What did you think about the Angle Fireball 100? I almost called it the Amplifier 100. What a name that would be. What do you guys think about the Fireball 100? Leave it down below in the comments. Always curious what you guys have to say. You know my thoughts. This is my favorite angle by quite a long margin. By quite a wide margin. But again, always curious to hear what you guys have to say. What did you hear on your end through the microphone and through your speakers that I didn't hear here in the room? Both Sweetwater and Zounds always massively help the channel out. Zounds provided this 7-string so I could give you guys 7-string guitar tones, and Sweetwater has provided a ton of stuff over the years. So anytime you guys hit those affiliate links, it makes a massive difference, and I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any more Angle Month content. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time. You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.